words are Nigamas, Sartha and the Pugas. Okay, who were the Nigamas? Who were at the topmost hierarchy. Okay, now this Nigamas used to decide on the town and city center. They used to head the town and city and the center, and these were also the people who used to have the international trade relations directly. Okay, after that comes the Sartha, the middle person. Okay, now he used to be a Karva. What is meant by Karva? Karva is a person, okay, who will be communicating or taking the goods from the village and then sending it to the city dockyard or the city port. Okay, so these are the Caravans. Okay, so the Sartha was the Caravan who did the inter-regional trades. Okay, within some of the local and the regional players. Okay, after that the Pugas. Okay, now who were the Pugas? They were the third tier. They were at the third tier. So they calculated or they analyzed or they monitored the interest of the local traders. What do these local traders need? How they can be communicating with the upper traders. So whatever are their needs, the quality format, whatever checks and balances are needed at the local governance level, who used to carry out? The Pugas used to carry out the local craftsmanship. Okay, got it? So try to remember these keywords, Nigamas, Sartha and the Puga. Okay, now they are very well related to all this. Now, what are the functions of this guild system? Was it just trading? No, it was not just trading. It was to have a good relations, to have the soft relations, economical relations with other countries. Now, if you imagine the map, okay, if you imagine, okay, so if you imagine a map, okay, this is a map of Indian subcontinent. Now, during the Mauryan period, especially during the Ashokan period, we have seen that Ashoka had expanded his territory, okay, through whole Indian subcontinent, okay, leaving some of the space of South India. Okay, so here the Magad city, now the Pataliputra, okay, Pataliputra was the capital city, and we have seen that how during the Haranyaka dynasty the capital of Avanti was converted to the Pataliputra. Okay, so the capital was presently the Pataliputra. Okay, so how Pataliputra or the Magad Empire was being connected through the Dakshinapatha and the Uttarapatha for the trade ties. Okay, Uttarapatha and the Dakshinapatha. So during this period, we'll see that the trade and commerce grew at a large pace. Why? Because major of these rulers were entrepreneur rulers, okay, and that is why they will be focusing upon the trade and commerce related activities through these routes. Okay, now many of the goods were being traded through this either sea route or either through the land route. Okay, either through the land route or the sea route. So here in both of the systems, we would be finding that the trade structures are different. For the land route, it would be different. For the sea route, it would be different. And majorly, okay, so this was the extension of the Mauryan Empire. Okay, so the area over here, okay, the area over here would be having the guild system with the high tiers. Okay, now what is meant by the high tiers? Its pronunciation should be rightly talked as a tiers. Okay, so there would be more tiers of governance in the guild system at the northwestern India. Why? Because you will see this was only the period where the external people would be interested in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, but due to the major power who was quite strong, okay, and unified, that is why they couldn't get into the Indian subcontinent. But after the Mauryan period, we'll see that during the post-Mauryan period, as and when the polity gets fragmented, okay, we'll see more of the players, more of the invaders coming to the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so when you will see how was the guild system? Guild system was built in the 3 tier. Now just now what I had talked about. Okay, so 3 tier at the normal districts or the region. Now these regions were divided into the different, okay, guild systems, and each of them had to follow this 3 tier system. Okay, and the tier system, okay, the guild governance system at this northwestern region was having more tiers. Like some text talk about the 4 tiers, some text talk about the 5 tiers in the guild system. Okay, so here the basic conclusion you should know is that the guild system became more structurized only after the Mauryan period, okay, especially after the Ashokan Empire. Okay, so we'll find that this, as the guild system was much stronger in the northwestern region, you will find that after the post-Mauryan period, or especially during the Gupta period, the guilds would be active till that time also. Why? Because this guild system was being taken into the hierarchical family structure also. So all the people belonging to a particular kinship, they would be having this guild system. Okay, now it was a period when the person was not given the training for this in the schools. It was only the training that used to be given by a father to the son, and from son to the grandson. And that is why you will find that the employment of these artisans would be hierarchical employment, or the traders would be hierarchical traders. Now in today's date we call them as a Vani or Baniya. Okay, now they were the same people during that time, but they were called as a Shreni during that time. Okay, so what is the significance of all this guild system? So the significance is, of course, the economic significance, that as and when the economy grows, okay, it grows contemporary to the increase of the guild system also. Okay, after that the social support and the welfare was also being provided. If we see the functions of the guild system, okay, the functions of the guild system, okay, if we see the functions of the guild system, we'll have to note here that they had the welfare policies, influence on the local market, and the policy making. So this used to help the common local man. This used to help common local man to contribute in the trade and relations. Like for example, what in present date we have? We have MSME scheme, we have Mudra scheme. Okay, why is this so? Why do government provides this assistance to all the people? Because we need a good manufacturing hub for our country. Because we need to increase our trade relations. We need to increase our exports so that we can generate more revenue. And this, if we generate more revenue, our budget would be running in the surplus. And the same case was being followed during that time also. Okay, the welfare services were given. Like for example, if a trader is being going through the land route, or if the trader is going through the sea route, he would be also provided with the transport facilities. Okay, he would be provided with all the kind of hospitality which he needs when he comes to sell his produce in the city area. So all these welfare facilities, all these welfare services were being provided for these traders. After that, they also influence on the local governance. Now, if you see, you have a good amount of income as a trader. Let's suppose you are a trader and you are earning more number of, amount in your monthly or annual salary. Okay, so in this way, you would be also giving more revenue to the government. You would be also giving more revenue in the form of tax, right? Whether it might be land tax, whether it might be the custom tax, whatever kind of it is. You would be giving more tax to the government as to increase the revenue source. And as the revenue source would be increasing, it would be also making the impact on the policy making. Okay, now the guilds used to make the policy for their own organizations, but they used to also have a high impact upon the policy making at the king or the centralized administration. So they had a major hold on the economical market as well as the political and the social market also. Okay, now after this, the internal organizations were built at the local and the district level, as well as this internal organization had the connections with the government interaction. Okay, now beyond that, we have discussed all this, that the head of the guilds had to regulate the trade practices, they had to control the quality of the produce, they had to control the market also, that which trader should be trading with which country or with which region. Okay, so all this was being carried out, all this were the functions that were being carried out by the guild system or the head of the guild. Okay, now let's talk about the significance. Okay,